In the shadow of the indigo dusk, the Necromancer's castle reared its Gothic spires into a sky punctured by the piercing gaze of a full moon. The lands that stretched before its ominous silhouette were tainted by the touch of darkness, lands where the living whispered the legend of the castle in hushed tones, speaking of the sorcerer who ruled from its throne, a master of the arcane, a binder of souls. It was to this dreaded fortress that a fellowship of 7 made its pilgrimage. Sir Cedric, the valiant knight whose armor was dented by 1,000 battles, led them. By his side walked Alara, whose robes were woven with the shimmering threads of the cosmos, and whose staff hummed with the promise of hidden power. Rounding out their number were Silas the rogue, whose fingers were as deft with locks as they were with blades; Morwen the ranger, whose arrows whispered death; Torgar the dwarf, whose hammer had forged its own legends; Anara the healer, whose gentle hands held the power of life; and Baelor the bard, whose songs could soothe beasts and men alike. The group's unity was born not of friendship, but necessity. Each sought the Necromancer for their own reason: justice, vengeance, glory, redemption, knowledge, and the allure of the unknown. Yet all knew that alone they would perish, and so together they climbed the craggy paths that led to the Necromancer's domain. The wind carried with it the smell of decay, and the earth beneath their feet seemed to moan with the weight of sorrow. The remnants of those who had ventured before them littered the path: rusting armor, bleached bones, and banners that no longer bore a name. Campfires of ill-fated expeditions still smoldered, casting an eerie light upon their grim ascent. As they approached the castle's daunting gates, spectral figures moved in the periphery of their vision. Ghostly warriors, once noble and brave, now marched in eternal servitude to the Necromancer. These were the unfortunates ensnared within the weave of death, a tapestry of souls that fueled the sorcerer's power. Alara's voice cut through the growing dread. The weave must be unwound, for in its threads lies the Necromancer's dominion over death. Sir Cedric's reply was a grim nod, his hand tightening on the hilt of his blessed sword, which gleamed with a light untouched by the shadow of the castle. We face not just a man, but a legend. We must not falter. The gates yielded to them as though they were expected, and the halls of the castle welcomed them with a silence that was anything but peaceful. Shadows flitted just beyond the reach of their torchlight, and the air was thick with ancient magic. Here, death was a palpable entity, and the walls themselves seemed to pulse with the rhythm of unseen hearts. Through a maze of corridors, under vaulted ceilings, and up spiraling staircases, they fought. Phantoms clad in armor that wept rust rose to bar their path. Wraiths whose touch was colder than the grave sought to claim their warmth. Yet they prevailed, Sir Cedric's sword shattering the darkness, Alara's spells weaving a dance of light and fire, and their companions' skills honed to deadly precision. At the castle's heart, they found the Necromancer, a figure robed in the night itself, his eyes the color of the void. Before him spread the weave, a loom of impossible complexity, its threads the ethereal strands of souls. You dare to challenge the weave? The Necromancer's voice was a symphony of the cries of the damned. To defy death is to defy the very nature of existence. Sir Cedric stepped forth, resolute. To enslave the dead is to defy the natural order. Your machinations end this night. The battle that followed was a tempest. The necromancer's power was immense, his spells crafted from the darkness between the stars. The companions fought with the fury of the living, their cause just and their hearts pure. Alara's magic sang of the arcane, her staff alight with the force of her will as she unraveled the dark sorceries that bound the weave. Sir Cedric's blade sang a song of light, cutting through the necrotic energy that sought to snuff it out. Silas's knives struck from the shadows, Morwen's arrows flew true, Torgar's hammer crashed with the sound of thunder, Anara's prayers wove a healing serenade, and Baelor's songs bolstered their spirits, lifting them beyond fear. The weave trembled, the fabric of its malevolence tearing under the onslaught of their combined might. The necromancer, in a desperate gambit, called forth the essence of the weave, a maelstrom of tormented souls that screamed for release. Standing side by side, Sir Cedric and Alara became conduits for the hopes of 1,000 restless spirits. They channeled their essence, their life force a bastion against the oncoming dark. The very foundations of the castle shook as the two forces collided, an explosion of light meeting shadow in a cataclysmic fury, and then silence. When the light faded, the necromancer lay defeated, his body a husk, the weave a shattered relic of a bygone horror. The castle, bereft of its dark heart, began to succumb to gravity, the stone crying out as it tore away from stone. The companions fled, their mission complete, as the castle crumbled behind them, its ruins a testament to the death of death's reign. They emerged into the dawn of a new day, the sun rising to kiss the world with life anew. Sir Cedric, Alara, and their unlikely band had done what none thought possible. They had walked into legend and emerged victorious, not through might alone, but through the unyielding force of will that defines those who stand against the darkness and refuse to blink. The weave of death was undone, and the necromancer's grip on the afterlife was no more. The realm was free once again to live, to die, and to rest in peace. Their journey back was one of reflection, each step away from the castle a step towards the future. They had each other to thank for their lives and for the lives of countless others. The tales of their deed would be sung by Baelor and echoed in the annals of history, but the true reward was the light of a new day and the freedom it brought to a world once shrouded in darkness.